We are going to learn the most interesting and useful Python methods and functions as quickly as possible. Let's begin. List comprehension. Let's say we have a list and we want to make it into a new list with the original numbers squared. Normally we would use a for loop for this, but with list comprehension we can write it in a single line of code. Just say what you want to do in the beginning. This time we want to square the elements x squared for every x in the list of numbers. That's it. If you were to print it, it will print out each number squared. You can also have a condition. Do this, in this case squared, for every x in list of numbers if the x is divisible by 2. Enumerate method iterates over lists, strings, tuples, or sets and returns the index and the value. Here we have a string called Python, and we're going for both the index and the letter in enumerate word, and then we're printing the index and the letter. And the output would be like this. The first line is the index, and the second elements are the letters. You can also just go for the index or the letter as well. You can use it with lists as well, and you will get the same result, except in this case, the numbers would print. Itertools is a module in Python that is used to create iterators for efficient looping. You have to import it first. And then we have a list of numbers. Then, for example, we can assign combos by using combinations function. Combos equals Itertools combinations, the list of numbers, and by 2 at a time. And if we were to try to print the combos, we will actually print an Itertools combination object. We have to loop over it, and then we get every 2 number combination that is out there. You can also just turn it into a list and print it like that as well. There is also the permutations in Itertools. This will print out all permutations of the given list. Lambda function is a one-line anonymous function that is usually used in place of a normal function. Here we are defining a function sum with lambda, takes in x and y parameters and adds them together. And if we were to print sum of 10 and 20, we will get an output of 30. Functools is a module that provides tools for working with functions. You have to import it. Let's say we wanted to create a sum of this list of numbers. We will use the reduce example, which is the most commonly used method from Functools. Reduce takes in a function, in this case a lambda function, which also takes in the list, and that takes in 2 parameters, which then adds them together. But it's only 2 numbers. What the reduce method does is roll over the entire list of numbers using this function and outputs the total, which is 55. I will put a link in the description to the Functools from Ask Python, which is very useful. You can take a look and learn about more of its methods. Map function is used to apply a function to all the items in an input list. Here we have a name list, which is consisting of names of people. You can use lambda functions with map. Here we're going to print a list with a map method, which is going to map over the list using this lambda function, which takes in the names underscore list and turns every element to uppercase. This would print out this. Every element in the list, every string has been swapped into an uppercase version of themselves. Filter function is used to filter the data based on a condition. Here we have a combination list with strings and integers, names underscore numbers list, and we want to filter the names. Then we create a new list called filtered underscore names, and we use the filter function with this lambda anonymous function, which compares every element's type to make sure that whether it is a string, takes in the original list. And if we were to print the filtered names directly, we will get an iterable object. We can either iterate over it with a for loop, or we can just simply turn into a list and print, and this time the list is only consisting of the names. Zip function is used to combine 2 lists into a list of tuples. Here we have a list of names and grades. And zip function is going to combine the 2 lists into a list of tuples in a single list. Maybe we just simply assign it to a new variable, zip names and grades. If we were to simply print the combo, we'll get a zip object, which is an iterable. We can iterate over it, for example, using a for loop, or just simply convert it into a list. And when we print it out, we get tuples of the elements combined together. Glob function is used to find all files in a directory. You first have to import it. Here we're going to search for files ending with .py. For file in glob.glob, and it takes in a string with the .py as the extension. And if we print it, I only have 1 file in this directory, which is the file that we're working on. Alternatively, you can just search for every file in the directory. And I only have a single file, but if there were multiple files, this would have printed all of them. os.walk method is used to traverse the directory tree of any given path. First, we have to import os. Then we're defining a main function, which takes in a path. And then here we have a loop, which searches for root, directories, and files in os.walk, given the path, and prints out the roots, directories, and files. Here I have a path from my computer, and when we run it, it prints every directory, root, and file which exists in this directory. I hope you found this video informative and useful. If you did, please give it a like. And if you'd like to be notified of future videos, please subscribe. See you in the next video. Take care.